So I made this cool Spider-Man animation and I tried to make it look cinematic. You're probably wondering, how the heck did this guy do this and how do I do it?
Huh?
I mean, I'm just a guy and I love Spidey.
Am I not supposed to have what I want? What I need?
I want to share with you how to create your own Spider-Man scene. With Blender, of course, because it's awesome. You're awesome. How do we get started, you might ask? Well, let me enlighten you, my friends. We're going to be needing a few things first before we even do anything.
I came from static, now I spark like a live wire, stepping on the beat till
The most important step you can take as an animator is to collect any references that you can. This is going to be something that helps you overall throughout the process. You can always refer back to it and use it as inspiration to come up with even more ideas. We need assets. We need high quality assets, and one that I can really recommend is the Spider-Man model itself from this website Gumroad by the creator AgroFro. Now I gotta find the rest of the assets to build out the scene. That includes the buildings, streetlights, cars, and everything in between. Not to mention realistic assets for the debris that's falling from the animation in the intro of this video. Bro, like the hours I spent making this. Luckily, I was able to go on Sketchfab and find some really cool high quality assets for some of the buildings in the city to make it somewhat resemble New York. Then I started placing the models around the 3D scene until I was satisfied with the city layout. Because I made my animation in a film trailer style, I had to make like 10 different clips. These were based on the set photos from our boy Tom during production a few months back. I definitely needed a scene with Punisher, Scorpion, and of course some sweet Spidey shots. So I got to animating, blocking out the scene and figuring out the pacing and structure of that specific clip, with the base bone keyframed every few frames. Alright, let's see what we got when we play it back. So obviously it looks awkward. That's why I started to move the rest of the rig on his body to refine the movements and make it look cool. I added a ton more keyframes, making sure it had proper motion, making sure I hit those key Spidey poses. Not gonna lie, it was almost like a month's worth of work. After I finally finished animating all these clips, I jumped into attempting to animate the webs. Dude, this part was hard, no joke. So after watching like 60 tutorials on how to animate the webs, I ended up using Blender's Animal plugin, which lets me keyframe the subdivided points on a curved path. This allowed me to make the webs for each hand and make the movements somewhat realistic, but like straight up, editing those vertices gave me brain damage. Then I assigned a material texture, tweaked it a bit, then used this geometry node setup to add a bit more of a webby feel. At this point, I started adding the lighting to each scene, from a high quality HDRI for the sky to a few layers of sunlight for some sweet extra edge lighting. This is where you really start to see the animation come alive. Now, for some final touches like atmospheric effects, I wanted to add some embers flying around to add some depth, so I created a very simple particle simulation that behaved like embers of a fire. Then of course I had to add some fog for the background to make it more realistic. Now that I have all my clips animated and ready to go, I need to tell a story with them. I opened up Premiere, dumped all the footage in there, and started sequencing them in a way that made sense to me. Once that was completed, I added some extra compositing effects like film grain overlay, some lens smudges, and some color grading to give it a little oomph. Finally, the time has come. The moment we've all been waiting for. The final results. Enjoy!
You lost him, didn't you, Red?
It's my responsibility. It's all my fault.
That's why I do what I do.
Please subscribe.